I still remember the exact moment my life cracked open. The air felt heavy, as if the universe already knew what was about to happen, long before I did. I walked into the living room, hoping for a warm welcome after a long day, but instead I found my mother standing stiffly near the kitchen doorway. She didn't smile, she didn't even lift her eyes to meet mine. Something was wrong. I felt it instantly, like a cold wind passing through my chest. Then she said it. Words sharp enough to cut through bone. You need to leave. Your sister is coming with her 2 kids to live with us. For a second, I couldn't breathe. It felt like my heart paused mid-beat, struggling to understand if I heard her correctly. I forced out a shaky laugh, thinking maybe she was stressed or joking. Leave? What do you mean leave? Go where? My mother crossed her arms as if I were a stranger renting her house and my time was up. You heard me. Pack your things. She needs your room. My room, the only place I ever felt safe. The room I painted myself, decorated myself, cried in, healed in. This is my home, I whispered, my voice trembling. It was, she replied, without hesitation. I felt something inside me break. A flood of memories rushed to the surface. Times I took double shifts to help her pay bills. Times I stayed home instead of going out so she wouldn't feel alone. Times I sacrificed my own dreams to help this family stay together, and yet none of it mattered, not to her, not now. Where am I supposed to go? I asked softly. You're an adult, she said coldly. You'll manage, your sister can't. My eyes stung, but I refused to cry in front of her. I simply nodded and turned away, each step feeling heavier than the last. When I started packing, the walls of my room felt unfamiliar, as if they were already pushing me out. Every shirt I folded carried memories. Every object I touched whispered reminders of the love I once believed existed here. When I stepped outside with my small suitcase, she didn't hug me. She didn't ask if I had money. She didn't ask where I would sleep. She only called out, "Close the gate when you leave." And just like that, I walked away from the home I thought was mine, realizing it never truly was. The room I found wasn't much, a small, dim space at the end of a narrow corridor in a worn down building. The walls were cracked, the floor felt uneven beneath my feet, and the single window looked out onto a brick wall only a few feet away. But it was all I could afford. Somehow it felt fitting. A broken room for a broken heart. That first night, I lay on the hard mattress, staring at the ceiling, listening to the muffled noise of strangers living around me. Someone was arguing in the next room. A baby cried somewhere down the hall. Every sound reminded me I was no longer home. I wasn't wanted there. I wasn't needed. I was alone. For years, I had held myself together for my family. Now there was no one left to be strong for. I finally let the tears come, quiet, bitter, painful tears that soaked into the thin, cheap pillow. It wasn't weakness, it was release. The next morning, I dragged myself to work with swollen eyes. My coworker, Ion, noticed immediately. Did you sleep at all? He asked gently. I didn't want to talk, but the weight in my chest needed somewhere to go. So for the first time, I told someone the truth, how my mother asked me to leave without hesitation, how my sister manipulated her way back into the house, how everything I had done for them meant nothing in the end. Ion didn't interrupt. He didn't offer fake sympathy. He simply listened, and in that moment, that was enough. Weeks passed, and I forced myself to adjust. I learned to live with the loneliness. I worked extra hours, saved whatever I could, and tried my best not to think about the home I had been thrown out of. But the silence between me and my family grew louder each day. No calls, no messages, not even a single "Are you okay?" I would scroll through social media and see pictures of my sister and her kids comfortably settled in my room, the room I painted with my own hands. It hurt, but the pain began turning into something else, something colder, sharper. Then one evening, an old neighbor called me. Her voice was serious, almost apologetic. I think you should know your sister told your mother that you refused to help her and that you wanted to move out on your own. She made it sound like you abandoned them. The betrayal struck like a punch to the stomach, my own sister rewriting the story, but I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I didn't break. Instead, I felt something rise quietly inside me, not revenge, not anger, something stronger. A determination to build a life that no one could take away again. Every morning, I woke up before sunrise and walked to work through the chilly air. At first, it felt like I was dragging the weight of my past with every step, but slowly, something inside me started to shift. The pain didn't disappear, it hardened, shaping me into someone stronger. I stopped waiting for my mother to call. I stopped checking my phone hoping for an apology. I stopped expecting my sister to feel guilty. Instead, I poured all my energy into myself for the first time in years. One afternoon at work, my supervisor approached me unexpectedly. "You've been working hard," he said. "We're opening a new position. I think you should apply." I hesitated. I never believed in myself enough to imagine more. But something whispered inside me, "Why not?" So I applied. And a week later, I got the job, better pay, better hours, and a chance to actually grow. That small victory lit a fire in me. I upgraded my tiny room, added a desk, bought new bed sheets, fixed the leaking pipe. I transformed it, piece by piece, into a place that felt like mine. I bought a better phone. I started learning online skills. I even created a plan for a small online business, something I'd always dreamed of, but never had the courage to try. Meanwhile, the peace I found began to replace the chaos my family once brought into my life. But back in my mother's house, chaos had become their new daily routine. My sister complained endlessly. Her kids were loud and messy. Bills were overdue. Groceries disappeared faster than Mom could buy them. Every call I didn't receive from my mother was replaced by stories from neighbors about how the house had become a battlefield. One neighbor even said, "Your mother misses you." She doesn't say it directly, but it's written all over her face. I felt something sting in my chest, not pain, not longing, just the weight of a truth finally being recognized. The one they pushed out was the one keeping everything together. Then, late one night, my phone buzzed. A message from my mother, the first in months. "Can you come home tomorrow? We need to talk." I stared at the screen for a long time, not because I didn't expect this moment, but because I had finally become strong enough to face it without fear. And this strength was the beginning of my sweetest revenge.